Oftentimes when we work with leaders, they're determined, they're driven individuals, and they like to win. They like to win. And oftentimes they feel like, and they'll say sometimes, well, I'm getting into arguments or I'm getting into conflict with another team member about something. And what we're going to talk about today is how to win more arguments by really changing your whole mindset. So this is a little bit of a bait and switch. I'm going to throw that out right up front. And I'll still encourage you to wait till the end, hear these six steps out, and then see how that changes your mind and how it changes your approach when you're working through a tough situation with other people. So let's jump into number one. First of all, you're not wanting to win. Because if you win, that means a lot of times someone else loses. It's an overly simplistic mindset, and it's a poor approach to bring, because it means I win, you lose, yeah, me, sucks to be you. And people don't want to be on the other end of that. So let's just go for something very different. The second thing is, you're not in an argument, you're not in a conflict. Those are terrible words. We really encourage you to get rid of those, because again, it means something really different. I was in the military. I can tell you, when we were going to a conflict, that meant something very different than we were having a tough discussion, or we're working through a thorny part of this deliverable. Phrase it differently and describe it for what it really is. It's going to help you. It's going to help you be more clear about what you're actually working on, and that's going to help you think differently, so that you realize it's not me fighting this person. It's actually I'm standing next to this person, and we are facing off against the problem. So when you do that and you think about it this way, now we're shoulder to shoulder and the problem's over there, and now it's, okay, how do we together solve this problem? They're probably not wanting the problem to continue. The key is to step back and reframe things differently, which we're going to get into in a second. So again, stay away from words like conflict, argument, fights. That's really not what you've got. To come to a good outcome, the first thing to do is to decide, what would a good outcome accomplish? So now you're getting out of how do we get there, and you're asking yourself, what is it we're actually wanting to do? What is it that we're wanting this solution or this proposal to achieve for the business? And this is where so often in a business, people will come with their functional hat on. So they'll say, oh, I'm with marketing, or I'm with sales, or I'm with operations, or I'm with finance, and they'll see the problem or the situation just from their part. So sometimes the most important thing to do is to widen your aperture a bit and say, well, really what we're working to accomplish is this bigger goal, this bigger objective for the business. And that might mean some pieces are a little bit different for the business than others. So we're going to get into that in a second. I don't want to get ahead of myself. The key, though, is to remember, what are we really wanting to accomplish in the big picture? And then you can get into how do all the different bits and pieces work together to do that. So now we're going to keep going with number 4. As you determine this is what we're wanting to accomplish, you likely see very, very clearly in your mind, well, gosh, my recommendation accomplishes that full set of objectives. And so now you can start to line up ideas with outcomes. Now you're drawing that tight line between, if we do X, then we're going to get Y. And notice that language, if then. So if then is a really powerful way to paint a clear picture. If we do this, then we're going to get Y. Also, you can begin to ask people when they say, well, I think we should do Z. And you say, okay, well, how does Z support this bigger objective that we've got? How does Z help us accomplish this goal? Now you're getting them to define it in much clearer ways. Now when we look at ideas, so I've got an idea on how to do this. One of the most important things you can do is remember that ideas aren't homogeneous, or they're not a chain that can't be broken. They're actually a bunch of pieces. So what I encourage people to do is I'll say, oftentimes we'll think of ideas as, well, this is my idea. actually your idea is all these bits and pieces inside of there. So you've got A and you've got piece B and you've got part C and D maybe is a really big piece and E's in there and F, blah, blah, blah. Now you get to break your idea up and say, well, gosh, which pieces of this will help accomplish what we're going for? And you can also ask your partner or the other person to say, hey, which pieces of your idea, so now they've got a different set of ideas. They've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You get to say, well, how does 3 accomplish this? Or how could we merge up your idea, your part 3 with my part D and create something new? So now what you're doing is you're breaking these into chunks and you're giving yourself and the other person more space to play with these ideas really from a different mindset and from a different basis. Lastly, and this can be tough, and it's been tough for me, I'm not going to lie. The hardest thing to do can be to set your ego aside. Remembering that when we have an ego, that's about us winning. So if you want to win, if your goal is I'm going to beat those folks down, or I'm going to force them to do that, and I'm going to win and they're going to lose, you're not likely to get very far in this process. You're not likely to create an outcome that's the most beneficial for the business. You're also not likely to help you or the team members that you're working with in the long run. So the more you can set your ego aside and remind yourself of what are we truly here to accomplish. And this is where what's fantastic is now you can shift from a what, so this is the what we're creating, and you can begin to shift to how are we working together. When you shift from the what to how, now what's going to happen is people are going to realize, gosh, Bill and I worked through this thing, and while we came at it from very different places, we came up with a better idea at the end. And more importantly, the way we got there, man, that was fantastic. Like it went so well. So you're going to get known for how you work through problems, which so many times is far more important than just what you create. So play with these ideas. Begin to incorporate these. These can be a little difficult sometimes. We certainly get that. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Enter any comments you'd like below. We always love to hear what people are finding valuable or what they want more of or less of in future videos. If you want to get more content like this, you can go to wingspanperformance.com and you can get right on our mailing list, right on the homepage. That way you'll get videos like this. You'll also get access to all of our written content and blogs. We've got well over 100 blogs on our website. And that way also, if you sign up, you'll get notified each week when new content comes out. So hope this was valuable for you. Really excited to hear what people say they're doing with some of these ideas. So please do drop us a line, however you choose to do that. Have a good one.